private recruitment agency that will secure a job for you. The private recruitment agency will only facilitate the employer to come and conduct the interviews in Kenya. So it's the employer who will see whether you have the capacity to undertake the job that they have in mind. Yeah? It's not necessarily PRAs, it's not necessarily government. The interviews are conducted by the private recruitment agency, by the employers. And let me explain. For example, if it is a job for a driver, the employer will have to come and even test the driving skills of this young Kenyan, possibly drive around the city, and thereafter, after the interview, see whether one is qualified or not. So it's critical for Kenyans to know that. It's not necessarily Ministry of Labor that will conduct the interviews and submit a list to the employer and say, employ this one as a driver, employ this one as a carpenter, employ this one, in housekeeping and what have you. No, it's not within our mandate. For us, it's just to create the environment to ensure that you're able to access these jobs by signing bilateral labor agreements with these countries.
Okay. This is Danny. He says, I've had this one question. Before taking Kenyans abroad for jobs, why can't you first make opportunities in our country? For instance, why can the government allow trucks to have turnmen? These are very big opportunities since you'll find a company with more than 100 trucks but no turnmen. Is this not a job? I think he means local options available. What is the government doing to enhance, employability and to create jobs for young people?
So I totally agree with the number of Kenyans who ask why labor mobility. Why don't you ensure that Kenyans access jobs within? And of course, it makes a lot of sense. But we must be cognizant of two things. Yeah. Number one, what we are trying to do has also been done by other countries. Because look at the unemployment rate as it is currently. We have 5 million young people who are unemployed, or some of them are underemployed. Yeah? Every year we produce 1 million graduates, from primary level to secondary level to tertiary to universities. The formal and informal sector cannot be able to absorb all of them. In fact, when you look at government and the private sector, formal jobs, they are only able to absorb 200,000 of the 1 million. So you want to ask yourself, where do 800,000 end up? Where do they eventually go? You see, even if you're talking of the Jua Kali sector, there are people who do not have entrepreneurial skills. So even the Jua Kali sector will only be able to absorb a certain percentage. Now, as I said earlier on, there are other models that we can emulate. Countries that were at the same level where we are currently and are now a first world. And I want to give an example of South Korea. About 30 years ago, they sent the young people abroad when the unemployment rate was so high. They went to Japan, they went to Saudi Arabia, some of them went to Germany. When they came back to the country, first of all, they came back with savings. But number two, they came back with know-how, technology. As it is now, South Korea is able to compete with even Japan in terms of the products that they produce, the quality of the products that they produce. We have Samsung phones, we have TVs, we have Hyundais that compete with Toyotas. So it makes a lot of sense when you look at your economy, the way it's performing, and you realize that you have skills that can be utilized in other economies, and in the process, those people who are going out there make savings and bring back these savings. But as they come back, they're also coming back with know-how as it obtains in those countries, the know-how that obtains in the world.
Okay.
So that is the reason why we are sending young people abroad. They will come back. You see, this is a long-term project. They will eventually come back. They will make investments. They will establish industries.